Joe Biden just did something that could honestly cause the death of the state of Israel. Is this really where we want to be as the United States? Also, Israel toes the line with Russia. We have a lot to get to, so stick with me. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys.
الولد الصغير طخوه ما انتوا ضارين على الولاد الصغار طخ ايوه طخ روح خليهم يطخوه خذوه طخوه قتلوه طخوه اتخبش ايوه حجر انظر بالحجر.
Yes, that is a Palestinian father trying desperately to teach his son how to throw rocks at Israeli soldiers and failing miserably. Fantastic stuff right there. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. I want to show you a video today. This was Joe Biden back in 1986. Beyond his younger age and forgotten ability to speak intelligibly, I want to see if you could spot any other differences. Take a look at that right here.
If we look at the Middle East, I think it's about time we stop, those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body, for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
Joe Biden used to at least make a show of supporting Israel's greatest ally in the Middle East. It was not only the right thing to do morally, but it was also the right thing to do for American interest. Israel is a beacon of light in a dark corner of the world. They have brought biblical values, Western values, prosperity to a region that was not long ago a mosquito-infested backwater land inhabited by divided clans who would slit each other's throats on the mere pretense of a grievance. Along the way, Israel's managed to win the respect of and even friendship of many of their Arab neighbors, including Egypt, Jordan, the UAE, and, God willing, someday soon, Saudi Arabia. They have also given citizenship, equal rights, and a fantastic chance at a beautiful life to millions of Arabs who once lived alongside them under British occupation, even after barely surviving a war in which those same Arabs had tried to wipe them into the sea. Israel is also now America's ally in the Middle East. It shares breakthrough military and civilian technology with the United States, along with daily security cooperation and intelligence services. And in return, America gives Israel military aid and a commitment to uphold Israel's security interests in the Middle East and around the globe. Security interests like, not dying. Today, Israel is facing two main threats to their survival: Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, and also Iran. Iran is an age-old enemy of Israel, stemming all the way back to the Persians when they destroyed the state of Israel and sent the Jewish people into exile. Today, Iranians are once again actively seeking the destruction of the state of Israel. Thanks to Israel's incredible military, a conventional war, thank God, with Iran is not a serious threat to their survival. But Iran is seeking the golden ticket. They're seeking nuclear weapons that they can deploy against the state of Israel. If they succeed, a couple of overwhelming missile barrages sprinkled with a few dirty warheads may be all it takes to send Israel packing into the Stone Age, leaving Middle Eastern Jewry, as it's known today, extinct forever. You'd think a threat like this would be sufficient enough to have Joe Biden signal to Iran that such behavior is unacceptable and to actively work with the state of Israel to make sure red lines in Iran never get crossed. Instead, Biden is cutting a sweetheart deal with Iran that could leave the door open for them to cross the finish line in becoming a nuclear-armed nation, while at the same time giving billions of dollars in sanctions relief that could easily be used to speed that process along. Inside their own borders, Israel is facing an enormous threat of a two-state solution with the West Bank or Judea and Samaria. You see, if Israel evicted the hundreds of thousands of Jews from the budding communities on the mountains of Judea and Samaria back to pre-1967 borders, they would be handing control of their historic and geographical heartland to an unstable terrorist regime hell-bent once again on Israel's destruction. This would place Israel in an enormously weak position. 9 miles wide at its narrowest point and dominated by mountain ranges that would most certainly be soon equipped with missile launchers via funding from Iran, which would obliterate the state of Israel. The United States knows this, yet once again, Joe Biden insists over and over and over again that he is committed to a two-state solution. That he is opposed to Israel declaring sovereignty over Judea and Samaria, and he continues to give aid to the Palestinian government, knowing full well that most of it is going to direct salary payments to Palestinian terrorists convicted of murdering Israeli civilians and now lodging in Israeli prisons. Joe Biden's most recent step in this direction is that the U.S. government confirmed last week that it has decided to cut support to scientific and technological developments in Judea and Samaria, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights, and it's sending a very strong signal of their commitment to a two-state quote-unquote solution, even though they know full well it would most probably be an absolute tragedy for the state of Israel. Joe Biden, where on earth do your loyalties lie? Be warned, God says, he who touches Israel touches the apple of his eye. Guys, we are working really hard to bring you boots on the ground news and perspective from the state of Israel, but as the audience, we really need your help. YouTube, Big Tech really does not like our channel. We get censored for stuff that makes absolutely no logical reason other than YouTube does not like the kinds of things, the narrative that we are bringing to the world, the truth, some would say. We would say, please consider helping us out to get this channel out to help us grow in a grassroots kind of a way. Subscribe if you haven't already. Over 60% of you watching right now are not subscribed. We can see that in our analytics. Please consider engaging in the comments, sharing the shows that you appreciate around on your social media. It really, really helps us grow on a grassroots level. We're going to get into here in a minute how Israel is towing the line with Russia. Some really interesting stuff in that regard, so stay tuned. But first, in a world where the echoes of the past still reverberate, there are those who have endured unimaginable hardships and struggles. Today, we're bringing you the story of Rivka and Beryl, Holocaust survivors who have faced ongoing challenges in their journey to rebuild their lives in the state of Israel. In the words of Rivka herself, she says, "My husband Beryl and I escaped from Poland as young individuals, seeking refuge in a new beginning in the land of our ancestors. But the road ahead was filled with obstacles. Language barriers, finding steady employment became daunting tasks. The horrors of our past made it even harder to adjust to a new life. Just when we thought our struggles would end in our homeland, we faced daily hardships. Hunger became a constant companion, and making ends meet seemed impossible. That's when we discovered United Soup Kitchen. United Soup Kitchen became our lifeline. Every day we received nourishing hot meals from compassionate individuals with warm hearts. No longer do we have to worry about where our next meal would come from, and the monthly groceries and cleaning supplies provided by United Soup Kitchen ensured that our home remained clean and livable. The relief it brought us is indescribable." As it says in Proverbs 19:17, "He who is generous to the poor makes a loan to Hashem. He will repay him his due." By giving generously today, we are not only lending a helping hand, but you are also making a profound impact in the lives of survivors like Beryl and Rivka. United Soup Kitchens is trying to reach $25,000 for this campaign, and they have nearly reached their goal. Please consider helping out today by giving a donation and then share this with others. Donate today by clicking the link in the description below. This is a really, really interesting article from JNS about the Wagner coup, or whatever that was exactly. No one actually knows for sure. But I want to kind of read you a few things from the second half of the article in specific regard to this kind of dangerous game that Israel is playing with Russia and Ukraine at the moment. Quote, "Israel relies heavily on Russian cooperation and coordination as Israeli military and intelligence units fight Iranian interests in Syria. To prevent accidental clashes between their armed forces in Syria, Israel and Russia maintain a military coordination mechanism there. This system helps deconflict their respective military operations and ensures the safety of Israeli aircraft operating in the region. Israel has been adamant about its non-interference in internal Russian affairs, clearly stating its intentions not to meddle in Russia's domestic matters. Israel's position emphasizes its respect for Russia's sovereignty and its commitment to maintain a respectful relationship. Maintaining a delicate balance between its regional interests and navigating its relationship with both Russia and Ukraine remains an ongoing challenge for Israel. Ukraine has pressed Israel for more support, including its Iron Dome air defense system. However, Israel has thus far been reluctant to transfer defense systems to Ukraine. In a recent interview with the Wall Street Journal, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu suggested that if these systems were to fall into the possession of Russian forces, the close ties between Russia and Iran could result in the equipment eventually coming under Tehran's control. Kanian expressed Israel's strong interest in maintaining a channel of coordination, or at the very least, communication with Russia. Israel holds hope that through this connection, it can potentially influence the developing ties between Moscow and Tehran. One of Israel's key objectives is to impede the flow of technology between these two nations. Still, Kyiv seeks to exert its influence on Israeli policy towards Ukraine through its embassy in Israel. It aims to shape Israel's stance and actions towards Ukraine in a manner favorable to its own national interests. So, as you can see, Israel's playing a bit of a dangerous game with Russia and Ukraine. They're trying to do their best to fit in with the Western narrative in support of Ukraine. Israel's given a good bit of support to Ukraine in various ways. But they also cannot let weapons, strategic weapons that could be used in Israel's possible maybe attack on Iran to keep them from obtaining nuclear weapons like the Iron Dome, fall into the hands of Russia, which would then mean they'd fall into the hands of Iran. They can't let that happen at all. So Israel's very hesitant to provide these very advanced weapons to Ukraine for good reason. I think they should be very, very cautious in that regard. So interesting to see what happens. Israel very much has to play this kind of dangerous foreign policy game with Russia, with Iran, with the United States, with a bunch of other nations around the world. And with this kind of dangerous foreign policy game, it's about survival for the state of Israel. Really, really, really is. We talked about some interesting developments in that regard last week on the show, how the U.S. really shouldn't take its partnership with Israel too much for granted because Israel might have some other options it could be moving towards. If you have not seen that show yet, check it out in the description below. Remember to subscribe. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. We love engaging with you guys there. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.